let's jump on right in. So the chapter opens up with Sonic, of all people, exactly again the same. We're in the same place where we left off last time. The chapter opens up with Sonic, of all people, cutting that man on his forearm, right? Cutting that man, and that man, and he's left shocked. He's like, "What?" His eyes are bulging. He's like, "What the hell happened?" And he's like, he goes, "No, no way." He resisted it, and it actually shocks Flashy Flash out of it, which is interesting because now you're like, well, Flashy was. What if Sonic didn't do that? Would Flashy had actually taken the deal if Sonic hadn't snapped out of it, the genjutsu or the being spirited away or whatever it is that happens when the cube is used on you. I'm pretty sure it's genjutsu. Um, you know, um, Sonic broke out of it, which just shocks that man to his core. Like he's like, what? And Sonic says, you can't fool my eyes. And then we get a different perspective. We see Sonic's perspective of what happened, with what happens when that man hit him with the cube, and we see what happened. And instead of like this dream world where Flashy went to back in chapter 201, Sonic it's a monster style. It was a monster style for Sonic, right? And he said, and he even just is like, this time it's a fresh one, so it's a monster cell, and this time it's a fresh one, and the monster cell runs over and jumps into this pot, and it cooked itself, right? And it cooked itself, and then it cooked itself and served itself to Sonic, and then it says to him, "Come on, eat up. You've been brushed off by Saitama, left in the dust by Flash, and humiliated by that man. Are you okay with that? Aren't you the strongest genius ninja? Come, become stronger from this, and let us show them how superior you are. Come, right?" And Sonic looks at it, and then he does that anime thing, right, where he picks up the knife and he stabs it, and then it just dissipates. It just go wow, and it just dissipates, and that's how Sonic broke out of it. So Sonic broke broke out of the genjutsu when not even Flashy Flash could. I don't know. I think it's he explains later why. It's his pride. Sonic is just one of those characters. Um, I like to describe Sonic as like the Hisoka of he kind of fills that very same role as Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter in terms of the One Punch Man world, where it's just this force of nature just drifting through the world, doing whatever he wants on a whim. Anyway, so Sonic goes on to say, for some reason, Saitama's strength is elusive, but through Flash, I can see the ideal of strength that that I should target. And if I can visualize it, and then if I can visualize it, then I can follow it, right? So he basically uses Flashy as a basis because Saitama is so ridiculously strong, like he doesn't know really what he's chasing. He doesn't really know what he's going off after. It's like he's effectively hunting a ghost essentially. So with Flashy though, he can see Flashy's strength. He can understand Flash's strength, and because he can understand it, then he can chase it, right? So that's what he's going after. That's what he's going off of, and that's how he was able to and that's why he was able to break it, because he's like, I saw true strength. I saw what that is. I don't need this. Now that I can see Flash's strength, okay, I have an idea of it. I can visualize it and go after it, right? And then he says to himself, I'm definitely going to surpass you with my own power. And then he says, Flash, come on, get up, because Flash is still on the ground because he was knocked out. And Flash says, oh, I owe you one. And he says, let's go. And they dashes after him. And he says, he laughs and he says, all this zest and all this zest, he goes, all this zest is nice and all, but do you think your situation has gotten any better? And so they charge him, right? And this man is like beyond them in every way. Because as they go after him, um, and he blitz them. He does the anime thing, and he just appears behind them, right? He literally appears behind them, right, with his swords, and he draws both his swords, ready to cut them down. And then Blast appears behind him and says, "Yo, partner, you look well." And he goes, "But," and then Blast gravity knuckles him in the face. Gravity knuckles him, sends him flying, and that's the end of the chapter. That's One Punch Man, chapter 201. Cool too. Um, yeah, so it's a pretty it's a pretty a pretty exciting chapter. I love Sonic, so this chapter means a lot to me because Sonic is one of my favorite characters. So seeing him get into dub, it was fun. I love it. And this chapter's gonna wrap up. I'd say about probably two more chapters and then it's done. But yeah, that's One Punch Man chapter 202. Tell me what you like about it. I love it because Sonic. Yeah. Bye bye.